Okay, the first two examples, they gave us the angle measure. They told us the number of degrees and minutes and said do the cosine, do the sine. The difference between those problems and this problem is this time we know what sine equals. So I'm going to just start off with sine of A equals 0.728. Now, I do not know what the angle is this time. So what I need to do to figure out the angle when I know what the sine equals is the angle, which is right here, is going to equal the inverse sine of the number on the other side. Now, sine -1 of number is called an inverse sine. It's not a reciprocal of sine. Okay, so don't be thinking we're going to just flip it over and get the answer, all right? So on our calculator, the place I'm going to find the inverse sine is at the same place I find sine. So if I start off there, hit the second button, choose the pi, which is right above that says trig. That gives me all my trig expressions. And you can see 1, 2, 3, and then below the 3, next to the 3, instead of a colon, it's got an arrow down, which means there's more. If you press the down button, which is this little cursor here, down, down, down like that, you'll see there's a sine -1 parentheses. That's the one we're looking for, inverse sine. So again, if I know what sine equals, I'm going to do inverse sine to evaluate. So I'm going to choose inverse sine. Then I type in my 0.728 in parentheses equals. So that gives me 46.718988. And that's going to be that many degrees. So what the inverse sine button does for us, we know what the sine equals. It tells us the angle that makes that sine happen. That's what the inverse sine button does for us. So if I did sine of this angle measure, I would get 0.728 or something near it. It's rounded, obviously, so we won't get exactly that, but rather close to it. Now, this particular question asks us to round to the nearest tenth of a degree. All right, so this one actually has rounding rules for us. So if I'm going to the nearest tenth of a degree, it's going to be A is equal to 46.7 degrees. Now, if you take a look real quick, if I were to do sine of 46.7, I should get something rather near 0.728. Again, it's rounded, so not exactly, but if we try it out, second trig sine, and I try 46.7 equals, it's 0.7277, which would be 0.728 rounded to 3 decimal places. So again, that's what that's telling, that's what it's doing for us. So if we do not know the angle, we use the inverse trig function. If we do know the angle, we just use the regular trig function. So just know which button to use on your calculator.